Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Africans, I greet you. Today I want to talk about the unification of Africa. Africa by then was United Africa, but was destroyed by ourselves, Africans, through our master colonies who came to colonize Africa. In 1945, to the period of colonialism, Africa was creating the strong foundation of unification by our Pan-Africanists who were there by then. Those Pan-Africanists, they tried to build the strong unification of Africa, but in 16th Africa were destroyed by colonies who came to colonize Africa. But there is people who tried to unite Africa, such as Kwame Nkrumah, Ben Bell, Abdul Gamed Nasser, and other Africans. But after that regime, when it became to these years of 1960 and these years, our leaders did not mind about what they found as foundation. They started their own things which destroyed the continent to the largest extent. In Africa, the problem we have is the leaders who doesn't love population, people, but who loves money more than people. In Africa, we have problem of leaders who work for themselves. They don't mind about people. But in Africa, we need leaders who can work for the countries. This Africa is the family of one man with 54 sons. So if enemies penetrate and enter this continent and destroyed the continent, it is now our duty to revise the strategies, that the methods they used to destroy. I normally wonder when I see our countries, you find in one country we have 5 political parties. So I normally ask myself, the aims of all those political parties is to unite a country, to develop a country, or it is to destroy? The solution is all those political parties are there to work on themselves, not for the country. So Africans, it is our duty to unite, to work, to develop our continent. No one will dream and wake up and come to work on or work on Africans' problem except ourselves. No one will come from Europe, from America, and come to unite Africa. Even though we say that Africa was colonized, but India was colonized, America was colonized, but they tried their best to work on their continent, on their countries. So Africans, without sitting and having round table, we shall reach nowhere. You ask yourself, the tourists that we have in Africa, instead of creating unit, we are creating boundaries and strong boundaries in Africa. I normally ask myself, if we don't think about how we can overcome boundaries in Africa, which legacy shall we leave for the future generation of Africa? We need to work on this issue so that we can leave the strong unification, the strong foundation for the coming generation. It may not happen in these years, but when we work on it, it will help the coming generation of Africa. If we don't mind about this, I assure you that the coming generation will move in darkness because of our current leaders. This is the thing that can help Africa to reach on other steps. Having one currency, having one dominated language, having one military. Africans, most of our youth, their aims is not to work, is not to stay in Africa. They want to go abroad. That is their goals. Why? Because what they want, they are not getting what they want in their continent. So that's why we find in coming years, Africa has no good young leaders. We don't mind, we don't want to train them, we don't want to give them power. So this is the time to train our young youth of Africa, actually to involve them in politics and in other sectors, in government, in the country. Our leaders, I normally wonder when I see conflicts in African countries, you know that Africa were divided by other people. If they made those boundaries, it is our duty to work hard. So I conclude saying that as the Africans, the way we oversleep, the way they come and exploit and take their goods, the products of Africa, to make their countries shine. We need to think and overthink how we can provide the solution of Africans' problem, how we can work on sustainable development of Africa. In Africa, we need to work on issue of trades, importing and exporting. If we are still having problem and conflicts in exporting goods and importing in other countries of Africa, we are still have long journey, miles of journey. So let us work together to unite our continent, Africa for Africans.